The journey of the soul across multiple lifetimes is a sacred path of learning and evolution. When we speak of addiction, particularly substance addiction, we must understand it not merely as a physical or psychological condition, but as a profound spiritual challenge that extends beyond our current existence. Addiction creates what ancient wisdom traditions call a karmic bond, an energetic chain that binds the soul across multiple incarnations. These bonds are not punishment, but rather the natural consequence of choices that create imbalance in our spiritual development. As souls, we are meant to evolve toward greater consciousness and connection with divine energy. Substances that artificially alter consciousness create a profound disruption in this natural evolution. The substances themselves are neutral. They are simply elements of the physical world. However, our relationship with them can become distorted when we surrender our will and conscious choice to their influence. This surrender creates an energetic pattern that becomes imprinted on the soul's record, what some traditions call the Akashic records. Consider how addiction functions. It begins as a choice, but transforms into compulsion. This pattern of surrendering free will becomes encoded in the soul's memory. The soul, seeking to resolve this pattern, will often recreate similar circumstances in future incarnations to provide opportunities for healing and transcendence of the pattern. Cayce spoke of these patterns as soul memories that persist beyond physical death. These memories are not stored in the brain, but in the soul itself. When we repeatedly use substances to escape emotional pain, spiritual emptiness, or life's challenges, we are teaching our soul a pattern of avoidance rather than growth. This pattern becomes what Eastern traditions call samskara, a groove in consciousness that deepens with repetition. The karmic bond of addiction manifests in subsequent lifetimes in various ways. Some souls may incarnate with predispositions toward addictive behaviors. Others may find themselves inexplicably drawn to substances or environments where substances are prevalent. Still others may experience unusual sensitivity to certain chemicals, either extreme vulnerability or complete aversion, both representing the soul's attempt to work through past patterns. What makes addiction particularly challenging from a spiritual perspective is that it creates a threefold bondage: to the physical substance, to the emotional escape it provides, and to the spiritual disconnection it produces. Each use strengthens these bonds, creating what metaphysical traditions describe as cords or attachments that drain the soul's energy and freedom. The soul naturally seeks liberation and wholeness. However, addiction creates an artificial sense of wholeness, a counterfeit spiritual experience that satisfies temporarily, but ultimately deepens spiritual hunger. The soul becomes caught in a cycle where it continues to seek fulfillment through the very thing that prevents true fulfillment. In esoteric understanding, substance addiction is seen as a misdirected spiritual search. The yearning for transcendence, connection, and inner peace that drives many towards substances is actually the soul's longing for its true nature. The tragedy of addiction is that it offers a shadow version of the very experiences the soul authentically seeks. This karmic pattern becomes self-perpetuating across lifetimes until conscious awareness and spiritual intervention break the cycle. When addiction patterns follow a soul across incarnations, they often become more entrenched and difficult to overcome with each lifetime, unless significant spiritual work is undertaken. The bonds created by addiction affect not only the individual soul, but create karmic connections with others. Those who enable addiction, suffer from another's addiction, or participate in addiction together, create mutual karmic bonds that often result in souls reuniting in future lives to resolve these patterns. This explains why many souls find themselves repeatedly in relationship with addicted individuals across different lifetimes. There is unfinished spiritual business to resolve. The first step in breaking these karmic bonds is awareness, recognizing that addiction has spiritual dimensions beyond its physical and psychological aspects. This awareness itself begins to loosen the grip of patterns that may have persisted across many lifetimes. The physical body we inhabit is merely the densest manifestation of our multidimensional existence. Beyond the physical form exists what ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized as the subtle body, a complex energy system that serves as the interface between our eternal soul and temporary physical vessel. This subtle anatomy includes what Eastern traditions call chakras, nadis, and the auric field. the luminous energy cocoon that surrounds and interpenetrates the physical body. When we introduce substances that alter consciousness, we are not merely affecting brain chemistry, but creating profound disturbances throughout this entire subtle anatomy. The impact of substance addiction on these energetic structures is far more devastating and persistent than modern medicine recognizes, for these effects continue long after physical detoxification has occurred. The auric field, which normally serves as both energetic nourishment and protection for the soul, becomes compromised through substance addiction. In its healthy state, the aura appears as a luminous, coherent energy field with distinct layers, each vibrating at different frequencies and serving specific functions in our spiritual ecology. Regular substance use creates what spiritual healers describe as tears, holes, and discolorations in this protective field. These auric disruptions manifest first as irregularities in the aura's outer edges, similar to static interference on a radio signal. As addiction progresses, these disturbances penetrate deeper layers of the auric field, eventually reaching the etheric template, the energetic blueprint that maintains the integrity of both subtle and physical bodies. When this template becomes distorted, it affects not only the current incarnation, but carries forward these patterns into future lifetimes. The chakra system, those spinning energy centers that regulate the flow of life force throughout our being, suffers particular damage from substance addiction. Each substance tends to impact specific chakras more dramatically. Stimulants often overstimulate and eventually deplete the lower three chakras, creating imbalances in survival instincts, creative energy, and personal power. Depressants and opioids typically suppress the heart and throat chakras, diminishing emotional resilience and authentic self-expression. Hallucinogens forcibly open the upper chakras without the necessary grounding and integration, leading to spiritual disconnection despite apparent mystical experiences. When repeatedly subjected to these substances, the chakras begin to function abnormally. Some may become excessively open, leaking precious life energy. Others may partially close or become blocked, preventing the natural flow of vital spiritual nourishment. Some may begin rotating in reverse or at inappropriate speeds. These distortions create cascading effects throughout the entire subtle anatomy. Of particular concern is the effect on what esoteric traditions call the silver cord, the energetic connection between the soul and physical body. Substance addiction strains this connection, sometimes causing partial detachment that leaves space for unwanted spiritual influences. This partial detachment explains why many with addictions report feeling not quite themselves or empty inside. They are experiencing the consequences of this tenuous soul connection. The nadis, subtle energy channels that distribute life force throughout the system, become congested and distorted through addiction. These channels, which should carry pure life energy, become conduits for fragmented and disharmonious frequencies. The three primary nadis, Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna, that balance masculine, feminine, and divine energies become particularly affected, creating spiritual imbalances that persist across lifetimes. Perhaps most concerning is how substance addiction affects the subtle body's natural capacity for spiritual protection. The healthy aura serves as a filter, allowing beneficial energies to enter while keeping disharmonious influences at bay. When this protective function becomes compromised, the individual becomes vulnerable to energies, thought forms, and entities that can attach to their field and exacerbate destructive patterns. The light body, that aspect of our subtle anatomy that retains the memory of our divine blueprint, becomes increasingly obscured through addiction. This dimming of our inner light creates what some traditions describe as a spiritual amnesia, where the soul temporarily forgets its true nature and purpose. This forgetting perpetuates the cycle of seeking fulfillment through external substances rather than through connection with one's divine essence. These subtle body distortions manifest in physical and emotional symptoms that often persist long after substance use has ceased, what recovery communities call dry drunk syndrome, or post-acute withdrawal. From a spiritual perspective, these lingering effects reflect the continuing energetic disturbances that require specific healing on the subtle level. The restoration of the subtle body and aura requires dedicated spiritual practice, that addresses each level of this multidimensional anatomy. Energy healing, meditation, breathwork, sound healing, and specific visualization practices can gradually repair these subtle structures, though complete healing often requires patience and persistence, as the subtle body typically heals more slowly than the physical form. By understanding these invisible dimensions of addiction, we gain crucial insight into why recovery must encompass spiritual healing alongside physical and psychological approaches. The soul carries these energetic imprints forward, and unless addressed, they can predispose future incarnations towards similar patterns of dependency and spiritual disconnection. The spiritual journey of overcoming addiction across lifetimes requires profound understanding and dedicated practice. While the karmic bonds and energetic damage may seem overwhelming, the universal laws that govern soul evolution always provide pathways to liberation. The soul's journey is ultimately one of returning to wholeness, no matter how far it may have strayed from its divine blueprint. Liberation begins with the recognition that addiction is fundamentally a spiritual condition, manifesting in physical and psychological symptoms. This understanding shifts our approach from merely treating symptoms to addressing the root energetic patterns that persist across lifetimes. True healing must reach the causal level, the soul memory where these patterns originate. The process of spiritual liberation from addiction involves several key practices and understandings that work together to transform the soul's relationship with itself and the divine source. These practices are not merely techniques, but sacred technologies that have been preserved in various wisdom traditions precisely because they address the deepest dimensions of human suffering. First among these practices is the cultivation of present moment awareness. Addiction thrives in unconsciousness, in the soul's forgetting of its true nature. By developing the capacity to remain fully present, even amidst discomfort and craving, we begin to create space between stimulus and response. This space allows divine wisdom to enter and guide choices that align with our highest good, rather than momentary relief. The practice of energetic boundaries is essential for souls healing from addiction patterns. Many who struggle with substance dependency have difficulty distinguishing between their own energetic field and the energies of others. This boundary confusion makes them vulnerable to external influences and collective thought patterns that perpetuate addiction. Through specific meditation practices that strengthen the auric field, these boundaries can be restored, allowing the soul to discern which energies truly belong to it and which should be compassionately released. Forgiveness work becomes crucial in breaking karmic patterns of addiction. The soul must forgive itself for the choices made in this and previous lifetimes that created suffering. Equally important is forgiveness of others who may have contributed to pain that led to addiction as a coping mechanism. This forgiveness is not mere sentiment, but a powerful energetic release that dissolves karmic bonds that have persisted across incarnations. The practice of soul retrieval addresses the fragmentation that occurs through addiction. When we repeatedly surrender our will to substances, pieces of our soul energy can become dissociated or trapped in various time frames. Ancient shamanic traditions and certain contemporary spiritual practices provide methodologies for calling these soul fragments back, reintegrating them, and restoring wholeness to the soul's energy field. Developing a relationship with higher guidance becomes essential in recovery across lifetimes. This guidance may be experienced as connection with spirit guides, angelic presences, ascended masters, or direct communion with the divine source itself. These higher consciousness resources can provide wisdom, protection, and energetic support that is especially crucial during the vulnerable periods of withdrawal and early recovery. The practice of energetic transmutation teaches the soul to work directly with the energies that previously manifested as cravings. Rather than suppressing or fighting these energies, the individual learns to recognize them as life force that has become misdirected. Through specific breathing techniques and visualization practices, this energy can be redirected towards spiritual awakening and creative expression. Service to others becomes a powerful means of karmic resolution. Many who have struggled with addiction across lifetimes find that helping others with similar challenges creates a transmutation of past negative patterns into present positive contributions. This service creates new soul memories that counterbalance and eventually outweigh the karmic debt accumulated through addiction. The practice of vibrational alignment involves consciously surrounding oneself with energies, environments, relationships, and practices that vibrate at higher frequencies. Since addiction represents a lowering of the soul's vibration, recovery requires consistent exposure to influences that elevate consciousness. This includes music, art, nature, spiritual community, and sacred texts that resonate with divine truth. Physical practices that integrate body, mind, and spirit play a crucial role in liberation. Yoga, qigong, tai chi, and conscious dance help restore the natural flow of energy throughout the subtle body, repairing pathways that have been damaged through addiction. These practices literally rebuild the energetic architecture that supports soul evolution. Nutritional healing supports the rebalancing of the subtle body. Specific foods, herbs, and minerals can help restore proper chakra functioning and auric integrity. As Cayce emphasized, the physical body is the temple of the soul, and its care becomes a spiritual practice that supports recovery across dimensions. The ultimate key to liberation lies in what mystical traditions call remembrance or awakening, the soul's recognition of its true identity beyond all temporal conditions and limitations. When this remembrance occurs, even momentarily, it creates an energetic imprint powerful enough to begin overriding the karmic patterns of many lifetimes. This spiritual awakening is not an escape from reality, but a full embodiment of it, where the soul recognizes that the peace, connection, and transcendence it sought through substances was always available within its own divine nature. The journey toward liberation is rarely linear. The soul may progress, regress, and move sideways across multiple lifetimes before achieving complete freedom from addiction patterns. Yet each conscious choice, each moment of resistance to old patterns, and each act of alignment with higher principles creates momentum toward eventual liberation. The universe meticulously records these efforts, and no spiritual work is ever wasted, even when immediate results are not apparent. By approaching addiction recovery as a sacred journey of the soul across multiple lifetimes, we expand our perspective beyond short-term fixes to enduring spiritual transformation. The soul that achieves liberation from these patterns not only heals itself, but contributes to the collective healing of humanity, as all souls are ultimately connected in the great tapestry of cosmic consciousness. If these spiritual teachings on addiction have resonated with your journey or the path of someone you care about, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your subscription supports the sharing of this ancient wisdom in our modern world. Leave a comment below sharing your own insights or experiences. Your words may be exactly what another soul needs to hear today on their path to liberation. Remember, in the spiritual realm, there are no coincidences. You found this message for a reason. Subscribe, comment, and join our community of seekers dedicated to healing across lifetimes.